I just want one pack. No, not one pack.
Life is about handling the challenges that you're faced with on a daily basis. It's about handling the consistency of change rather than the consistency of routine. And there's no doubt in my mind that people find the consistency of their routines to be something that they find security in. But what happens when your consistency of change bleeds into your consistency of routine? How do people react when basic essentials like toilet paper and bottled water are no longer available at their local grocery stores?
One per person.
I went to the store and I went in and I went to the meat aisle and I couldn't find no chicken. I couldn't find no chicken.
And if that wasn't enough, try adding on a global pandemic that could wipe out 105 million people. Oh, and yeah, did I forget to mention? There's no treatment for the disease. What would that be like? Well, you no longer have to wonder about that because that scenario has become a reality and it's nothing short of a pandemic-sized cluster fudge. Hello, welcome to my channel. You weren't invited,
But I guess I'll let you stay.
Now, before you get comfortable, let me first introduce myself. My name is Justin, and I'm a broke, self-employed millennial looking for my place on YouTube. So if you like this video, hit that thumbs up button and make sure that you subscribe. If at any point you disagree with me, feel free to drop a comment down in the comment section below. Your opinions are always welcome here. Daily life can be monotonous. You wake up, eat breakfast, commute to work, go back home, relax, go to bed, and repeat. But as a result of recent events, social order has been rattled to its core. We've been able to witness firsthand how a disruption to the consistency of routine impacts the social behaviors of the masses.
Worried customers have been snapping up everything in sight. Store shelves nationwide are dwindling or totally empty, like at this Target near Washington, D.C.
I can't believe what people are doing inside. Shelves are empty. It's like we're going to, I don't know where. It really is unexplainable.
The sudden push for preparedness has stores rushing to replenish. President Trump urging moderation from consumers.
You don't have to buy so much. Take it easy. Just relax.
Many stores now limiting the number of high-demand items customers can buy, like hand sanitizer and disinfectant wipes. Kroger and Target increasing staff, while they and many other retailers like Wegmans, Safeway, Trader Joe's, Publix, and others are cutting store hours.
There is panic everywhere, more specifically, panic buying. But here's the problem. People weren't just buying the things that they needed. They were going overboard. They were buying things like it was never coming back. Like toilet paper, water, and hand sanitizer.
But why?
Why would people act so irrationally? The answer is to preserve the consistency of routine. Reiterating on what I said earlier, the predictability and consistency of routine helps people feel safer and more secure. So let me break down a theory as to why this specific panic buying incident occurred. When rumors of shortages began to circulate around Asia, people began to hoard massive quantities of those specific items. The media reported on the chaos, which caused more panic. People took to social media, which caused more panic. And before you knew it, people who were on the other side of the world, far from the epicenter of the pandemic, began to hoard those very same items in anticipation for a global pandemic. I'm sure you could imagine what was going through the heads of the people who weren't participating in the panic. If those clowns buy up all the toilet paper, how in the hell am I going to wipe my butt? Which is a reasonable question to ask. The fact that the Chinese government began to enforce self-quarantine didn't make matters any better. And before you knew it, the idea of a citywide lockdown went from being a dystopian future read about in one of the many science fiction novels found on Amazon.com to being a possible reality. But if you thought this crisis would bring communities closer together,
bless your heart.
no, not at all. But you know what they say, I'm often guilty of expecting the worst so as to avoid disappointment and welcome surprise. This is especially the case for a Tennessee man by the name of Matt Colvin, who was found to be hoarding 18,000 bottles of hand sanitizer so that he could sell them for profit on Amazon.com. Capitalism, you might say. What if I told you he was reselling each bottle at a 3,500% profit margin? Not convinced, I see. What if I told you it was illegal? What Mr. Colvin did was against the Tennessee Price Gouging Act of 2002. Tennessee price gouging laws make it unlawful for individuals and businesses to charge unreasonable prices for essential goods and services, including gasoline, in direct response to a disaster, regardless of whether an emergency occurred in Tennessee or elsewhere. The price gouging law makes it unlawful to charge a price that is grossly in excess of the price charged prior to the emergency. Clearly, Mr. Colvin was apologetic for his crimes, right?
Would you say you're sorry?
Sorry for purchasing, sorry for buying all of this product? No, I don't think that I would.
But the patheticness didn't end here. On the Wild West of the internet, Twitter for short, there was an unusual hashtag trending. Are you ready for it? Boomer remover. And here's what some have to say. Turns out the real boomer remover was the boomers voting to remove Bernie Sanders. Breaking news to the youth. As moms, we had chickenpox parties for young kids so that toddlers with chickenpox might give it to the others in order to build an immunity and get it over with. Trust in your strength. Hashtag Corona. And the response was, they aren't gonna like it when they're called boomer remover parties. Okay, that was a little funny. I really like that one. That was funny. I'm gonna give that one to you. If you're a socialist, make sure to put that in quotation marks, and you express excitement about the fact that the coronavirus targets old people, or use the phrase boomer remover, stop calling yourself a socialist. Hatred for vulnerable populations is some liberal bullshit. We're not on that. Kudos, girl. The COVID-19 called boomer remover. Boomers. Millennials and Gen Z. So I'm starting to notice that a lot of these posts are coming from Bernie Sanders supporters. I'm a Bernie Sanders supporter, by the way. What do you think? I want you to die for our economy. Open America today. There was another retweet from Business Insider, and it was titled, "A certain horrible subset of the internet is calling the coronavirus boomer remover." This is the state of America's medical infrastructure. You know who did this? Baby boomers. Get them off the streets now. Hashtag boomer remover. Blatant disregard for our nation's elderly bothered me tremendously. Despite all the information provided to us about how deadly and contagious this virus was, it appeared as though the youth couldn't have cared less.
What are we looking at? This is
Oh, wow.
a lot of people. So if you think that the beaches are being impacted here by corona.
If I get corona, I get corona. At the end of the day, I'm not going to let it stop me from partying.
Like, it's really messing up with my spring break. What is there to do here other than go to the bars or the beach, and they're closing all of it?
On the other hand, I disagree with the narrative pushed by the media that the youth were the only ones who weren't taking this virus seriously. There were many examples of dismissive attitudes coming from boomers as well. The CEO of Spectrum, Thomas Rutledge, went against the CDC state and local recommendations of social distancing, despite having all the resources available for his staff to work at home. The CEO of GameStop, George Sherman, refused to close his stores and had the audacity to push the narrative that his business was an essential one. Have you ever heard of Amazon.com? Next day delivery, baby. When it comes to people price gouging in times of crisis, you have to be a special kind of jerk. Luckily for the people of Tennessee, the state was already ahead of Mr. Colvin. Despite having all the proper laws in place, Mr. Colvin exposed vulnerabilities in the online retail marketplace. Companies like Amazon and eBay are just as responsible in ensuring that state laws aren't violated and that their customers aren't taken advantage of in times of crisis. There have been steps taken by retailers to limit the number of items a customer can purchase at a time. There were also special hours set aside for the boomers to get the essentials without the anxiety of having to compete for limited stock items. But I do often wonder, if there wasn't such a large public outcry, would these retailers have done anything about this? I guess we'll never know, but it's safe to say, speaking up does matter. It was apparent that the media deliberately made attempts to target young people and use their platforms to publicly shame them. I understand the importance of addressing concerns with regards to public safety, but the fact that CBS took it a step further and released their names, which opened them up to attacks on social media, was in my opinion unproductive and inexcusable. The media was unsuccessful in convincing the governor and mayors of these cities to close the beaches, so they targeted the tourists, and honestly, what did they gain? As a millennial myself, I realized the narrative pushed by the media. I understand the harmful efforts to spark outrage in order to gain and maintain an older demographic who are frankly the only ones who watch anyway. But it is our responsibility to ensure the safety and security of our nation's most vulnerable, no matter how thankless the job is. If you have grandparents, check on them and see if you can do anything to make their lives easier. Just do it. Thanks for watching.